Okay, you guys, let's do this. It's going to be so professional. Like, so professional. Here we go. Welcome to the Live Support Podcast with your hosts, Michele VanDusen and June Colson, a couple of clean comedians who support each other and others through comedy's wacky and winding roads. I hope you're ready. Get set. Let's go. Since podcasts have a catchy tune, we wrote this song for Michele and June. Clean comedians are best friends too. Oh, it's so good. And you never know what they'll say or do. Here we go, sing with me on Live Support. With Michele, who's really short. We'll have a ball. With June, who's really tall. They have fun, interviewing comedians on Live Support. With Michele, who's really short. Now it's time to start Live Support.
The Live Support Podcast is brought to you by the Hot Breath Comedy Network.
Wow, give yourself a round of applause. Woo! That was magic.
Welcome to the award-winning Live Support Podcast. I'm your host, June Bug, here with a mouthful of leftover Halloween candy. With Michele with one L, Trisha's sister, Rhonda Colson, Corey's friend. Don't call me Shelly. Michele VanDusen. Okay. Here's the problem. Your new introduction, the way StreamYard is now, it's not playing the video. So I didn't think you had played the music yet. And there's no volume. And then when I turned the volume on, then the video popped up. And it was too late. I already had my Tootsie Roll in my mouth. Also, I thought it was vanilla and it's sour apple. So this is a whole different situation. What I'm saying, Michele, is leftover Halloween candy. I have no elf control.
No, you don't. That was a good one. That was very
you know
good.
What you have? You seem to have a lot of elf confidence today.
I
Michele.
do.
I don't know what it is. Tell me what it is.
I don't know. I'm into the Christmas mode, so I thought I'd wear a elf shirt today. It's my elf shirt. Anyway, yeah. So the other thing with what just happened in our intro.
Wait! I just realized you have on an elf shirt, and I have Elf-vis.
That's right.
I'm literally wearing an Elf-vis shirt.
Yes, Elvis.
That's going to make me laugh for like 2 days for no reason. Didn't even plan that. But look at that. Okay, so for our listeners, for some random reason, Michele decided to wear an elf t-shirt today. I think we know why. We'll talk about why you have the elf t-shirt on. And I literally have an Elvis t-shirt. Yeah. I wore this t-shirt when Tommy Moran, one of our guests, he was on the Huckabee show, and it was Elvis's birthday, and it was a whole Elvis themed night or whatever.
Is that happening now too? Is it his birthday time frame?
Oh, it's Elvis. He can, I guess.
Happy birthday, Tommy. Oh, Elvis.
I know it was Elvis's birthday, not Tommy. Michele, what are you talking about? Oh, you got to get a hold of your elf, is what I'm saying. Like, this is out of control.
Well, so at the very beginning of, how you said that you couldn't see the video pop up or anything.
Yes.
Well, your audio was still on, and so I could hear you unwrapping your candy. I was like, what is that noise?
We don't have elf control today. Zero elf control. Okay, it's fine. So you just recently, you had an audition, and in the audition you were an elf. Did you wear that t-shirt?
No, but I should have, because this would have made it so much more simple of what I had on. No, I had like green, and I had a Christmas sweater. Like I had the elf outfit.
Yes.
This would have been so much easier. Just throw this on and a hat.
You look so good, though. You look good. You were working the part. I don't know if you get the part or got the part, or we don't know yet. But either way, I thought you looked pretty fantastic.
Thank you. I would really like to play an elf or like a Mrs. Claus or something like that in a Christmas movie. I think it would be so much fun. But it has to be a Christmas comedy of some kind, or something along those lines. I think that'd be fun. I totally want to do it. Would you write it? You need to write it.
I could. I've written a Christmas play, like kit for like youth
Oh.
group. I've written a Christmas play before, and it was a whole like, there was like a machine, and the toys popped out like giant, and so that was really fun because the kids had costumes of like they were a big teddy bear, or they are a big doll, or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been a long time. I can't even remember what the whole
Okay.
thing was.
This is what we'll write. Okay, ready, June?
Yes.
Okay. It's going to be a Christmas mystery,
Yes.
comedy mystery, right? So is that even a genre? A mystery comedy? I don't know if those words merge somehow. Anyway,
A momedy.
a
If two
momedy.
moms make it, it's a mystery
Okay.
comedy, a momedy.
Okay, so let's do a Christmas momedy. And here's the thing.
You're not supposed to share your idea. This is intellectual
This is-
property.
Yeah,
that you're
but
just putting out there, and now the next thing you know, Pixar is going to have some kind of digital version of our momedy, and we can't do anything about it.
it'll be okay because then we will do the voiceovers for that because this is our idea. See, so we
Do you
did
think those big companies care? Nah.
Yeah, they do. They care about the little folk. They totally care. They totally care. Of course, they'll hire us and have us do the voices
Yeah.
because I have a very young sounding voice, even though I'm very old. And yeah. So there you
I
go.
love that today you asked me if I'm. You asked me today if I was 45 years old yet.
Yeah, I wanted to
while
know.
insulting me.
I wasn't insulting you.
You were confirming that I have a triple chin. Welcome to the saggy neck is what you told me, and I told you. Well, okay, so at least it was complimentary that you asked if I was 45 since I'm almost 50. But still, welcome to the saggy neck.
Yeah, like welcome to the age. Because I assumed you were like 42-ish. But I thought, well, let me just shoot a little higher just because you were like all upset about your neck.
Oh,
it's not backpedaling. That means exercise. I'm not doing that.
Well, let me tell you how I combined the food products of Halloween and Christmas. This is a momedy tip. When my kids would go trick or treating, they would sort out their candy afterwards. Little OCD moments where we'd have to put all the alike candy in piles. And
of course,
we would store it separately, the chocolate together, and the hard candies and those kind of things.
Yeah.
And then when the kids would go to bed, I would steal their candy, the candy that didn't have like Halloween wrappers on them. So like Smarties.
That's not stealing. That's not stealing. That's moving it. You just moved it.
It was the trick or treat tax. I took some tax for taking them trick or treating. So I took I take the candy, suckers, like the Dum Dums and that kind of stuff, and I put them in Ziploc bags.
Oh,
and hide them in the china cabinet.
Okay.
And then when Christmas rolls around, candy for the stockings.
Oh, okay. Yes, absolutely. That is something that has been passed down generation to generation to generation. That, and you also got to throw in that really old moldy orange that goes with all of them. Or wait, no, I think it's called fruitcake. Either way. But yeah, that's a great idea. Now, have you ever gotten rid of your Easter candy by putting it out for trick-or-treaters? I have.
No, I don't think we ever had like leftover Easter candy. I don't think that like the candy, it didn't make it all the way to Halloween.
Yeah.
Halloween's close enough. What's April?
Yeah, it's
That's
close
7 months or wait, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. That's 6 months away. We're less than 2 months away. So the hard candy works out good. And then it's a variety of candy in the kids' stockings. So works out pretty well.
Well, that's kind of a nice little variety that you do. I kind of get annoyed sometimes with too many kids ringing the doorbell. So I've decided to make our house the one that kids go, oh, they don't give good things, don't go there. That's why I put the Easter candy in there. And sometimes I will put like Christmas candy in there from the year before. Where they can clearly see the date on it, so the parents have to go through it. And then so we get less and less kids every year. It's a beautiful system.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what the holidays are all about, Michelle. You're on it. Okay, so today on Life Support, we are going to talk about supporting our friends and getting to do comedy shows. You okay?
I don't do those things. I just want to be
Sure.
fun.
Sure,
I
you
just
don't.
I take my kids' candy and just put that back in the basket outside. With the little sign that says "Take one."
Yes.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what have you been doing? Because it's been a while since I've seen you. Because every time we've been Marcoing, which not a sponsor, you have been in some exotic place somewhere, and I say exotic. Uh, there's always been sand and sun and surfing and all the things. Now,
Oh, yeah.
where have you been? You've gone and worked with a lot of people lately, and just supported so many. So I'm going to pull up some pictures, and then you tell me who this is and where you were. Okay? Okay. All right. And then, of course, you have to describe it for our listeners. So first one up, let's do this one. Where are you and who's in this picture?
All right. So that's me. That's my comedy twin, Christy Conder. We're going to have, we do a Rhonda Corey moment, but we could do a Christy Conder moment.
Yeah,
That's
lean a little
Christy
bit to your
Conder.
left.
And then in the center is the amazing Stephen Bargatze. This was at a theater at Belmont University in Nashville, and Stephen, Jeff Allen, Brian Bates. There's Jeff. So yeah, that's Chrissy and I, and Jeff in the middle. And then there's Tammy. That's Jeff's wife, Tammy.
Here's the group.
Yeah, and then that's a different show. This picture.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so they did a show. Patricia Heaton came. She's moved to Nashville, so she was Ray Romano's wife, and everybody loves Raymond. She's a very accomplished actress.
Also in the middle. Did you ever see the middle?
Yes, the middle is absolutely what I think one of the most well-written comedies of all time. Absolutely love the middle.
June, move your head a little bit to the left. There you go. Now we see your whole face.
So yeah, this was Stephen before the show. Got to give him a hug, and he had an excellent set. It was just a great night, a great fun crowd.
Yeah.
And Christy and I just went to just be supportive. I happened to be in town. I was leaving the next morning to go to Miami. Of course, Jeff has been a comedy mentor for myself and Christy since 2019, maybe 2019. We started going to his house 2019, 2020, 2021, off and on 2022. And then this year it's been really sparse. There's been a couple of times that we've been able to bounce in. I think our last writing session, I've been there for dinner and things like that, but our last writing session was right before Jeff and Christy filmed their dry bars.
Oh, nice.
So he's just been speaking of support, he opened his home to us starting in 2019, a whole group of writers out of Nashville. You came, Michelle, one time when you were in town with me and got to hang out. So when we have opportunities, especially Jeff being in town, and this was a big deal. I mean, this was his production with Stephen. They brought Brian in to host. Patricia popped in as kind of a surprise guest, which is really awesome. And Jeff is doing a film with her. And
good. I was hoping they were going to do a film. So that's exciting. Because that's going to be a great film. I'm going to go to see it no matter what it is. Is it a momedy? Is that what this is?
It's
Did they do our thing? That's what's happening here.
Momedy that'll be our thing. Like people will know, oh my gosh, we're going to watch a momedy. Oh, a Michele and June production.
Momedy.
Absolutely. Yes. So Christy and I, Jason and I just got a hotel room downtown in Nashville because we had a flight the next morning to Miami. So we just hung out downtown, went to dinner with Christy and her husband, went to the show, and then I headed off to Miami the next day. I went and saw the Savannah Bananas, which was really cool. If you don't know what that is, it's kind of like the Globetrotters of baseball.
Yes.
To me, it's almost like a musical, baseball the musical. There's so much singing.
Their intros, every time they intro the person, they're always it's a song and a dance somewhere. Coming out of the stands or coming out of the dugout. All
Yeah.
it's some kind of singing, and it throws everybody off. Yeah, they are the Globetrotters of baseball. That's so good to. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
they do trick catches. They have a guy who bats on stilts. They have celebrities that pop in and pitch a couple batters or bat or whatever. So yeah, that was super exciting. We went to that. Trying to think of what else. Just ate a lot of food in Miami. So yeah, so that's what that picture was us with Steven and with Tammy. Tammy was there. She doesn't always go to all of Jeff's shows because he's touring all year long. So
we
it's
love
always
Tammy.
great when Christy and I get to spend some time with Tammy. She's been a big support and a big part of our comedy life as well. So
Yeah.
so
I
that's
always find that if she laughs, then you have a really, really great joke.
yeah.
So yeah. It's all good. Okay, now this is a picture of you on stage. Move your face over to the left again.
Yes. Sorry.
Where
Well, you don't need two of my faces. One of my faces
I
already.
need two of you. So
Okay, so this is a picture of me at Third Coast Comedy.
okay, is that this group?
No.
Oh, okay. So this
No,
is
I
three
don't have a
different
picture.
things.
Yeah, I don't have a picture of the lineup at Third Coast.
So where is Third Coast located?
Third Coast is Nashville.
Nashville.
It's a cool comedy club. That's where the Clean Comedy Challenge was the year that I won the challenge.
Nice.
When
So you
it was
came back. All right.
Yeah, I came back. This was my first time back. Got to headline that show.
Nice.
My youngest son, his girlfriend and her mother came to the show. So that was really special.
fun.
Talk about support. She had never been to a comedy club before. I told her it'd be a little bit different because this show is, speaking of competition, it's a competition kind of thing. He has an opening comedian. There was a guest spot. Then they have three comedians that compete against each other. The
So
audience
you weren't competing.
No, I was the headliner.
Okay.
No, I was,
So all I'm gonna say is the next time if you do this particular show and you're headlining it and stuff, that you need to make sure that you clarify that there was these three competed, and out of those three, this is the one that won. Because all I thought was if you were headlining it, what? Like it didn't make any sense to me. I thought like you were supposed to be in this competition too.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
no.
how did that happen? So that makes more sense to me. Okay.
Yeah. So it's usually some newer comics. They compete against each other, and then whoever wins comes back the next show as a feature spot if their schedule is available. So they get to do more time, and so Drew hosted it. There was an opening comedian, a guest. Then the three comics did their time, which it was either like 5 or 8 minutes. I can't remember how much time they did. Then he had another comic do like 8 minutes, and then I did 30 minutes at the end.
And then this one.
That one right there.
I like you're pointing like like at your head. I don't know what joke that was, but it was a good one.
I'm gonna guess that was the punchline about concussions, about getting concussion.
You had like what did you have, like 15 of those while you were doing getting ready to be a cheerleader?
Yes. Yeah. So
yeah, that's great. My brother actually ended up having like 9 concussions or something. Like that's just too many. One is too many.
One is too many. Yes.
Yeah, but after that, it's like, ugh. Okay, so now I'm going to bring up this last picture. Yeah. So this is 3 different events then. Okay, this one with this group. Move your head again to the left, so we can. There we go. So now you can tell us who's in this picture and where are you with this? Because I see Brian Bates is in this. Okay, so where are you?
So let's see. Steven is if you're looking at the picture to me, to the right is Steven, then there's me, then there's Mark, then there's Brian Bates, then there's TC Cope. TC wasn't on the show. TC, I have some mutual friends with him through the LOL GCA, and also the CCA comedian Griff, Griff.
Yeah.
I got to go watch Griff do a lineup with TC. TC is he's just a well-known Nashville comic, veteran, just a
You're
great
TC.
TC. Yeah, okay. TC Cope. Super nice guy. So he was just there in the green room hanging out. Who
Oh,
you
that's
don't
nice.
see is Dusty Slay. Dusty was
Mhm.
on that lineup that night. And I think he was out. I don't know where he was. Or maybe he hadn't got there yet, and TC had taken the picture. So yeah, that was Brian Bates and friends at the lab at Zanies. So Zanies has opened up and purchased the full building where there was a
Yeah.
side of Zanies that was still kind of a retail shop. It had been different things. I think an antique shop, a thrift store, several different things. And so they've actually been able to purchase that. Has its own green room, which is really cool, and has a different menu food wise than Zanies. An intimate space. Like Zanies is really intimate too. It's got the balcony in it, but it's still such a tight, like people love doing Nashville Zanies. I'm thinking it holds about 85 people, maybe. The lab side of it does. So you've got a lot of your headliners like Brian Bates, Johnny W. A lot of those guys, they do a Brian Bates and Friends, Johnny W. and Friends. Stephen Bargatze's doing one of those. And so it's a variety, kind of showcase of comedians. So Brian invited me to be on that showcase, to be on his show at the lab. So that was awesome. My my sister-in-law Emily came. She's never seen me do comedy before. My brother-in-law has, but his wife hadn't. So they drove all the way from Lexington.
Wait. Okay, we're gonna have to back this up for a minute.
Yeah.
You just said your brother-in-law has seen you do comedy, but now your sister-in-law?
Yes, his wife has never seen me do comedy, but her husband.
Oh, okay. I was like, how? Wait, because I was thinking your brother, and then this was his wife, but no, this is okay. All right,
No.
You threw me for a loop there. I just recently listened to the "I'm My Own Grandpa" song.
Yes.
And so, like, I was just trying to get all those connections. So now I'm like, wait, hold up. I know you're living in Kentucky. We got to back this up for a minute. What now? So
we do have a funky family tree. We do know all about 23andMe and finding, new family members in the tree. But no, my brother-in-law had seen me do comedy because he's a firefighter, and I did the Kentucky Fire Association. I did their conference. That's the show that I did with Dan Whitehurst and Johnny W. And so Eric was at that. He's a firefighter. So he saw me do comedy there, but that's the only time he's ever seen me. And so, so they drove in. Emily loves Nate Bargatze. She was super excited that Stephen was on the lineup and on the show. I had teased it, like, I told Stephen, I was teasing, but I'm kind of serious. Like, I've been doing comedy since 2018. And Emily's never seen me do comedy. Stephen was on that show. And they were in Nashville and they came to see it. So I told him, I was like, she says she's here for me, but I'm pretty sure that she came here to see you. And so at the end of the show, he was like, hey, I'm going to take my stuff out. He's a magician, if for our listeners, if you might not know. And Stephen has been on our show with another magician, Jason Michaels. Jason Michaels. Yeah. And so anyway, you go back, watch that was such a good interview with Jason and Stephen. But yeah, so I told Stephen about Emily, and he was tickled that, like, she loves Nate so much, and that she got to see him at Rupp Arena when Nate was in Lexington, Kentucky. And so Stephen was there. Stephen did the show that night. So anyway, at the end of the show, he's like, I'm going to take my stuff to the car, but I want to go out to the lobby with you and meet your family. I would love to get to meet them.
Aww.
And of course, he did
Jason's.
Nice. He did Jason's retirement party. Like, he knows my husband. And he met Eric, my brother-in-law, but my sister-in-law she wasn't there at that show. So anyway, he comes out, waits till everybody kind of clears out the lobby. And he was like, come over here, let's take a picture together. I took a picture with Emily, and she was just having the night of her life. Like, she was having so much fun. She had so much fun just getting to see me do what I do. She got a little glimpse into our world, where I think people, if they never come see you, they don't really know what we're out here doing. You know what I'm saying? Even if you've been to a comedy club before, I think it's like you just can't process that your family members doing that thing, you know?
Yeah.
So I was excited that she got to come see me at that particular club. But then even after that, I was like, Stephen, thank you for sticking around and coming and loving on me. So, don't go anywhere. I brought my cards. And so he took his cards out and he did a card trick, like just for us, for Emily, right? So he did the trick with Emily, which was really sweet and really fun and just made the night so special. So yeah, I have to say, Stephen Bergazzi, I've not met Nate. I've been in the same place with Nate before. Didn't know who he was the first time I was there. And was around him.
Or Stephen?
Yeah, Nate.
Oh,
I had no idea who Nate was. And then when I met Stephen, I really didn't know who Nate was. People were like, that's Nate's dad. And I'm like, okay, you know, but I didn't run in that circle and I didn't know who he was because I'm not really a Nashville comedian.
Yeah.
So anyway, I got to know Stephen before I had a real clue who Nate is. And Nate has such a wonderful reputation. People love him, but I will tell you, I don't know that I've met a kinder, more generous, more humble person and supportive. We're talking about support this time, you know, just he gave me some words of encouragement after the show. That that was just, you know, well, we talked about a couple episodes ago, the Release the Hounds, where some guy after the show came up and was like, hey, you know, I know this isn't a comedy club, you're outside at a festival, but I wanted you to to know my wife and I were in the back, we were dying laughing. You are so funny, not that I need to validate you. And I was like, yes, you do. Yes. We need validation, dude. We need validation.
All the time.
But to have someone like Stephen, who's been around it forever, whose son is literally the probably one of the top comedians in the United States, period. But, you know, known all over the world at this point, to just say the words he said to me and kind of confirm my value in comedy. And to just tell me I had a fantastic set and just it was really special. It was a really special night. So good. I've been blessed to be around some really supportive people. So appreciate Drew Davis letting me headline at Third Coast. And I had a lot of people come see me this last few days that have not seen me before. And that was awesome.
So is this your sister-in-law?
That's Amy Cannon. No.
Move your head to the left. There you
go. That's Amy Cannon. So Amy and I took Rick Roberts' performance class together, and we performed at Zanies together. I absolutely love this woman.
Does she also do
funny.
Music? Does she also do music?
No.
Oh, okay.
There were two musicians that were on that set. One of them I sung with Amy Grant forever, but also like a ton of other famous artists. Another one is a violinist, plays, and she tours with a group from India that I guess is like, I mean, they're like huge stars.
Wow.
Like, so anyway, there were several women who were musicians. So I get why you thought that. No, that's Amy. She's a realtor.
She really sold her jokes.
Yes. But no, she came and she drove all the way to Bowling Green for a showcase that I did here one time. Just to be supportive, and I would love to get to do a show with her. She is she has her character on stage is really country. There's a lot of stuff about the small town that she grew up in. She's very smart, very funny.
So we'll have to set that up. We'll have to do a show with her for sure.
Yes, that would be awesome.
Boom. Okay, so is this your sister-in-law?
No, we have not gone to my sister-in-law.
Do you have a picture of her?
It should have been posted on there. That's my sister-in-law, or my sister-in-law. That is not my sister-in-law. That is, she worked with my sister Bobby at the same elementary school. In middle school, maybe freshman year in high school. My oldest son dated her daughter.
Oh,
I'm trying to think of what else. Yeah, we've just known each other for a long time. Her husband taught at the high school that I went to. So yeah, just several different connections. And she's come to a few of my shows, and she brought there was like 4 people with her. And one of them, the lady got pulled up on stage by Steven, and he did, one of his tricks or whatever ever with one of her friends. So that made it a really special night for Stephanie and her group.
okay. Here's one more. Is this your sister-in-law? We're gonna play.
That's just a random
No?
woman who asked me to
Oh.
take a picture. But no, I'm just kidding. That is,
Oh.
go back to that. No, that's
That is
Melissa.
her?
That's my sister-in-law. That is her beside, like, we were walking by the building, and I go, do you want to take a picture by Nate's giant head? And she was like, what? Yes. So yeah, so Nate Bargatze's face is on the side of Zany.
Okay.
I said we could go over to Leanne Morgan's, because every once in a while somebody will mistake me for Leanne Morgan.
Oh yeah, you need to do that for sure.
Same hair color, same height,
Yep.
similar in age. So I'm like, I should take a picture by Leanne Morgan's picture and be like, I can't believe they put me on Zany's one time at the lab, and here I am.
One time. Look at this. Okay, so I just want to say thank you to our listeners for playing Is This Your Sister-in-Law?
Yes. Ding, 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 ding. If you guessed the lady beside Nate Bargatze's head, it was my sister-in-law, you are correct. And you win maybe some stale candy if you reach out to us. I'll send you some leftover Halloween candy in February. There we
Oh
go.
my gosh.
Yeah. So that's it. Okay, so that's my recap. Third Coast. One thing we didn't talk about was the Bigfoot Festival. I did hit the Bigfoot Festival again, and we're going to have Chester Goad on, and we will recap all of the shenanigans. I am telling you, I've never laughed so hard in my life as I did with Chester this year at the festival. It was so much fun. And we had a couple of amazing encounters that are going to blow your mind. So pay attention for when the Bigfoot Festival episode comes out with Chester Goad, because there's going to be some great stories about that.
You guys looked like you were more organized this year, because I saw that you had all your camping gear with you. You had enough, like your drink, you had that hydration pack. So you're all set to go. And now I do want to, like, did you guys end up finding and seeing Bigfoot?
Michelle, we can't talk about. I can't talk about that. Right now.
Okay.
No, I can't talk. We'll talk about that on the episode when Chester's here. We definitely don't want any legal issues to pop up in between now and then of our Bigfoot hunting.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it was in season or out of season. So we just want to make sure that we got our,
okay. Oh, you're right. I'm so sorry. But I do like that you have been going to more places, supporting comedians, being supported by other comedians. Like I love that. I love that. What I see is when the comedians, when they're more successful, or and how you become more successful, is that you're not competing, but you're encouraging and lifting up, because there's no competition when you're like farther up the scale, kind of a deal. I don't know how to put that. Like when, like there's no bitterness towards your heart. There's no jealousy when you just go and enjoy someone else's show. You can go and be happy for someone else. Like that's the best thing. I'm happy when you're doing well. Like that's when I'm the happiest, I was like, I can't believe you're on that stage. I was so excited that you were doing Zanies and all the things. I didn't realize it was 3 different things. I'm like, what about this one?
Yes. Yeah. Multiple things. And the thing is that, like, when you are supportive of your friends, and it really is just truly going out and supporting them when they're doing their thing, a lot of times that those folks want you to be on their events. And, Christy and I love doing shows together. And so if I'm doing something here in Bowling Green and I'm working the lineup or whatever, I try to bring her to anything that I'm producing here in the area. She's an hour away. It's so much more fun. I enjoy doing Third Coast. I like to meet new comics, but there's nothing to compare when you're in the green room with you and
Yeah.
I and
Yeah.
Rhonda, Dory, Macklemore, Brian, Kahatsu, you know, like our friends, when you're in the green room with your buddies, like that's the best. So,
Yeah.
you know, we always want to be performing, but the next best thing is getting to watch your friends shine. That's so awesome. So I know
Definitely.
that you've done some shows. So let's talk about the support you've had going on. So you just did a show. Speaking of, let's have a Rhonda Corey moment. You worked with Rhonda, so tell me about that. Where were you at? What was the show?
I'm gonna do here Funny Together.
We'll hold it back up there again. Okay.
Okay.
The Funny Together Tour. So you can go to funnytogethertour.com
Mhm.
to book a Funny Together tour and tell us about what the tour is, Michele. Just a quick recap so that people know what that is.
Okay, and because I only have one picture from it, which is really bad. I don't have the rest of them. So Rhonda Corey, she does different shows across the country at different churches, and she'll bring her tour there, and then she's always on it because it's her tour, and then she'll find someone that's a little bit closer in the area. And so for this particular one, because we were in Cartersville, Missouri. Joey Aiello came north from Branson, which oh my gosh, he's amazing.
Yes.
And then I came from Tulsa because I actually got to drive Rhonda Corey. So
Well,
yeah,
what
I did.
privilege.
She rode in my car. Well, my mother-in-law's car, but yeah. So she gets the more localized comedians to come to an area. But it's not always local. So like I know she's done shows with you. She's just went to Texas and did shows with Dory and then Tim Ketcherfield, I believe.
Yeah.
And then next coming up, she's going to be like in Pennsylvania or Ohio or something like that. So she's doing more shows up that way. So she's just constantly going around. So here's the thing. It doesn't cost the church anything to bring this tour in, which is really, really neat because it's a ticketed event. And so all the tickets are sold, online somewhere. And Rhonda's links. It's not called Rhonda's links. You would find out the information on the funnytogethertour.com and you could find all those things. But if you're a church out there that wants to have a really great comedy event, go ahead and hire them or inquire. I should say inquire of them and then find out. What's really neat is at this little church, and this has happened more than one time. I've seen this happen. She'll ask the audience, who all doesn't go to this church. It's between 90 to 96% of the people don't attend that church. So then at the end of the event, she can always say, hey, if you don't have a church home, you guys should come visit, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. And she lets the pastors open the event. And then she comes up and she hosts. And it's such a great, great opportunity for the community to come and be in a safe environment and hearing good, clean, funny comedy. And it's really meant for like 14 and up, because even though it's clean material, you really don't want to have like your babies and stuff there just because they're just distracting. It's just, if they're crying, if they're going to cry or make noise, just get up and excuse yourself, plus kids typically don't understand comedy. So
it's not jokes written for children.
Right. Yeah. So, but yeah, so this is the stage. But I don't see, I thought I pulled up another picture that had the three of us on there. That clearly was not it. So
no, that was just you.
Yeah,
but
just
this is
me.
about you, Michele. So
it was about me. But what's exciting is I am actually going to be going back to Carterville's First Baptist Church in April, and I'm going to be the keynote speaker for their women's event.
Oh, nice.
So I'm really excited about that. And that wouldn't have happened if I wasn't part of this tour and was at the show. So it was just a really neat God connection is what I'm going to call that. And it was great because, because God put it on my heart a couple years ago that within like a 2-hour radius of where I live, that I'm supposed to just go to, to the churches for a love offering and gas money, right? Like that would be it, kind of a thing. Whether it's, comedy or comedy and ministry, whatever, like that's the
Yeah.
thing that he put on my heart. So in my head, that was just strictly Oklahoma. I'm only going to do Oklahoma churches. But then I realized this church is less than 2 hours from my house. I'm like, oh, you fit the parameters that God told me. Oh, then yes, I will totally come. So that's what's going to happen in April. So I'm really excited to come back to that church. Anyway, so
well, you've always been super supportive of Rhonda. Rhonda during COVID started a show called Talk is Cheap. I can't remember how many episodes. It was like 100 or something episodes. It was twice a week. It was like Tuesdays and Thursdays when everybody was locked up in the house.
Yeah.
And it was, comics still talk about how much they enjoy getting to be on the show. It gave us a creative outlet, and she was very well put together, super fun. But you were so supportive of that show in a time, and I think that's what's important about being supportive with your friends. You didn't support her doing Talk is Cheap and become the scorekeeper and help with creative ideas and those kind of things because you were like, oh, maybe 3 years after that, she'll start a tour and I'll get to go do that tour. No, like this was just you supporting a friend, doing what she was doing. And now she's supporting you in your comedy career by hiring you to come and do some of the shows on her tour. I think a lot of times that you are by yourself. You're on stage at that mic by yourself. My sister-in-law said that was, she got a little emotional, like watching it. She said, me do the show. She said, I was just thinking on the way there, you're driving through all this traffic when you get here, that you go on the road and you do this on the regular, and you're by yourself and you go on stage. And she was like, I looked at that mic and thought, I bet that could be like the loneliest place in the world.
Yeah.
And
it is.
It is, it can be,
I
but
mean, it can be.
But like I told her, I said, I had somebody pray over me before I did my first big show, another Christian comedian. And the prayer was, God, we know that we don't walk up there alone. So no matter what happens at the mic for us as Christians, God was with us the whole time. So, it didn't take him by surprise that I bombed, and it didn't take him by surprise that I had a good set or, whatever. But it can be a lonely journey. And when you are only looking into yourself, it'll stay a lonely journey. But when you're selfless and you do things like you did, right? Like I felt like you've always been so supportive of comedians. Obviously, that's how this podcast started. Obviously, that's how our friendship started. But now, because of that journey, that kindness, I feel like God rewards you with these moments where that friend now is like, this is not the first show you've done on the Funny Together tour. No. You've probably done more than anybody at this point with her.
I don't know. Dory is real close there too.
Is she?
Yeah.
Either way,
I believe so.
It started by being supportive.
Yes. And it's really, it's so easy for me. It's very easy to support people that, I don't know, it's just easy to support them. And like when, you were a cheerleader, and the small amount of time that I did any kind of, and I'm not even going to say cheerleading because that's definitely not at all what I did, but it was some kind of squad of something. I was the base, like the bottom of the pyramid.
Squad. I thought you said squat.
No, the squad. Well, like a cheer squad, but not like a cheer squad.
Yes,
like some pep rally or
you were the
whatever.
base in the pyramid. I was
always the base, because I'm like, yeah, I got you. Like I don't know. It's who I am. I like helping you be better. Or if I don't know, I don't like seeing people falling. I don't like seeing people, not make it.
Is that why when I did my cheerleading bit, and I had an act out where I threw a cheerleader in the air and intentionally let her drop to the crowd, that you took it so personally? You go, I don't like that joke.
think that's a good one. No, it just showed me who you are.
It was an
No,
evil
I actually,
cheerleader. It was an evil cheerleader. It was the bad guy. It's the villain in the story.
yeah, so it was fine because it wasn't
Yeah.
you. No, I just really enjoy supporting people, and I don't do it for a benefit later down the road. That just
Yeah.
happened, and it's been wonderful. And I do have to say, on the Talk is Cheap show, when I couldn't do the scorekeep. Oh, and the whole reason why I started the scorekeeping was because I was watching her struggle trying to keep the tally on the games.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is when you see a need, you should fill it. And I was like, "Oh, I will do the counting for you. I don't have a problem with that." She's like, "Oh, you can be." I'm like, "I don't want to be on air. I will just do it in the background." And then she's like, "No, no." And so that's why the scorekeepers creative, happened. But then you came in and was Grumpy Gramps, which are right, Grumpy
Yeah,
Grump.
Grumpy Grandpa. So the
Yeah,
scorekeeper was kept anonymous on the show.
yeah,
So all you would see is Michelle's gloves. She would have little Lego backgrounds and props
hmm
and
yeah. She was
whatever.
great.
So whenever you couldn't be there and they were like, okay, we need another scorekeeper. If you want to just sit in, and I'm like, well, no, I should be anonymous too. And so the best I had to come up with on the short notice was I put on one of my husband's suit jackets and like man pants, and I had a grandpa face,
Yeah,
like a big giant baby face thing,
yeah,
but it was an old man face with no teeth. And I did the white gloves like you did, so you couldn't see if it was man hands or woman hands. And yeah, and so I
yeah,
was anonymous too. I didn't do it as much as you did. Also, you started it because you wanted to keep score, and grandpa couldn't count. Like I just wrote random numbers down. Sometimes it was like 0.086 and then plus 10 million minus 1002.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I didn't keep score very well. I just
Well,
picked one.
and then after a while, then I was like, then I was just making up numbers too.
Yeah,
I was like, oh,
that was
they
easier.
said something. They said something positive about a dog. They get extra points.
Mhm,
Oh,
mhm.
they said something good about a cat. Negative points. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't like cats. I like dog. Like I just, oh, you talked about vanilla. Nope. Chocolate. Okay, extra points. It was just,
Yes.
it was just fun. It was just a fun time. Yeah.
But I
So
love what you said is that I didn't start doing that so that I have a benefit down the road. I
yeah,
mean, I think it's good advice. Like the reality is the more supportive you are of people in a comedy world, the more likely you are to get some work. The more
yeah,
likely you are to make some connections and stuff. But also you shouldn't go into it with like, I've gone to, I've seen Brian Bates's show. I don't many times. He used to do a birthday show every single year, and I would go even when he was on our podcast. I like joked that like I'm always invited to his birthday party.
oh,
Not
because
just
it's
me
his
individually,
show.
everyone's invited because
Oh,
he does a show at Zany's, and it's people that I know, so I enjoy going. I didn't
yeah,
go so that he would put me on a show
hmm
however many years later. I
yeah,
just went because he was doing the show. They don't owe you anything. I could go to 50 more Brian Bates shows. He doesn't owe me a thing
yeah.
to come. And if I go there with that expectation, you're either going
It's
to get frustrated or disappointed, or you're going to end up like have an attitude towards someone who they didn't owe you anything in the first place. So the
yeah,
best thing to do is if you want to be supportive, go be supportive. And if something
yeah,
good comes out of it, great. And if not,
yeah.
well, that's okay to be selfless and just do something without expectation of something for yourself.
Yeah, and that's what's so neat. Like I like watching lately how because of relationships that I've been making with different people, like that's how I'm getting some of the shows, which has been a wonderful thing, and it's worked out with my schedule and things like that. So like when I worked with Leslie Norris Townsend, she was kind of close
Mm-hmm.
and my schedule was open. She's like, I know this is late minute, and I was like, well, let's see, that's 2 days away. What do I have? I'm like, yeah, actually, my schedule's open. Like it just worked out. And so, like, that was wonderful, to be able
Yeah.
to be in Arkansas and then now to be in Missouri. The only thing that I was really, really disappointed about, though, doing this last Funny Together tour show in Cartersville was I wasn't able to stop at Bucky's. And
Oh,
here's
yeah.
my problem, because Cartersville is before Bucky's. So I did tell Rhonda, I'm like, I'm going to drop you off. I'm going to drive to Bucky's, which was an hour away, and then I'll come back. So I was going to be gone for 2 hours. And she's like, no, you're not. I'm like, yeah. We'll get there early at the church. She's like, I'm not going to sit at the church. I'm like, you can come with me. She's like, no, that's not happening. I'm like, So, but in the spring, in April, I'm going to Bucky's, and then I'm going to go to the church.
We have a Bucky's now, like 10 minutes up the road.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, girl. Now,
Yeah.
okay, I'll be visiting you soon.
My bonus son Trey, not my Trayvon, but my bonus
Yeah.
Trey, he works at Bucky's. And it just opened within the last year. It's not been open for very long. The first time that Jay and I drove up there, they had their barbecue sandwiches, and there's a 3 meat sandwich. And I was like, dude, I'm getting the 3 meat, man. It had like sausage, smoked turkey, and barbecue or whatever. I got so sick, like so sick from eating that sandwich. And it was just too much. It was more than my body can handle. And so now every time we go into Bucky's, Jason will go, you want to get the 3 meat? You gonna get that 3 meat? And I'm like, no. And you know, like when you eat something and you get sick, like you never want to eat that again. I got sick off of boxed tacos in high school, and I swear I didn't eat a taco for like 6 years.
What is a box?
You know, you buy the box, like the taco whatever, and it has the seasoning in it, and it's just a box that has tortilla shells and seasoning and some salsa and stuff in it. It's just a kit. Like a starter kit. Yeah.
Okay. Because I was like, what's a box taco? That's like boxed wine. Because I just learned about boxed wine recently. So,
yes, you just open the valve and taco oozes out of the box.
That doesn't sound appetizing at all.
No.
It's kind of like boxed macaroni and cheese. That's a box. So you're just you got to do your own. Okay. All right.
Yeah. You gotta add a few ingredients. You know.
If you're gonna, when you go to Bucky's next, not a sponsor, their Rice Krispie treats are so good. They're so good because they're made like fresh or whatever, because you don't it's so good. So
I haven't tried them. Jason got some kind of dessert, a pecan bar or something, and we got in the car, and as he like set down the buckle, I look over and he's taking the last bite. He ate the whole thing before we even got in the car. I didn't get to try it.
So you didn't unbuckle and go back in to get another one?
No, I did not.
Girl.
I usually just want a bite of something. That's it. I don't like, I'm not trying to eat the whole thing.
You know, he would have eaten the rest of it if you went and got another one. You know that.
That's true. That's
but
true. Okay.
Have,
so Bucky, you were literally going to leave her at a venue so that you go to the Bucky's and back. It's not.
I thought through it all. And then I even thought about, contacting Joey, because, I thought, well, I think he passes it, and then I thought, no, he's got a longer drive than I will. I won't ask him. But I did. I was thinking all the way through everything, but I found out that I have another friend that's actually going to be going soon. So I'm like, okay, because I want their they have these chocolate covered coffee nuts or something. They're just so good. Like I've had.
Now I'm about to. I haven't had dinner, and I'm about to drive to Bucky's. We have just got in the car and driven to Bucky's for a coffee or whatever, and it's crazy there. It's crazy there all the time. I swear though, the last time we were there, we were walking out the door, and this lady who had an armful of stuff, so she obviously shopped and hung out in there for a while. As she's walking out behind us, she goes, I don't even know what to think about it. This place is just a super spreader.
Super spreader of joy? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Bucky's will spread joy. Especially they do it hundreds of miles away with their billboards.
Yes.
We have
But
billboards.
I'm thinking, if you're concerned about it being a super spreader, why did you stick around for 45 minutes and get 5 bags worth of stuff?
That's right.
If you're that concerned, you should have walked in and walked out, right? Like
they have great bathrooms. Their bathrooms are clean.
They are.
So like that's a huge thing.
And I found a cell phone in the bathroom. That's my 3rd cell phone.
Wow.
I found one at a park after a show. I found one this, I probably shouldn't have said this, but I found another one in the Buc-ee's bathroom. So I gave it to the bathroom attendant. And then this last one, I was coming home from Miami. I went to the bathroom and someone left their cell phone in the bathroom at the airport. So I took it out with me and I was going to try and find the emergency contacts, and it rang. And I said, hello. And it was somebody who worked for the airline, actually, one of the clerks, like at the desk where you check in to go into the plane or whatever. And you know how like you'll say something and in your mind, you know what you're talking about, but there's not enough background information for them to get. So I say to her, this is my third cell phone this month or something. It sounds like I was stealing cell phones.
It did. And I was a little wary of the one that you found in the airport, because that, I watched too many of those.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't ticking or anything. There was no countdown on the screen or.
That's good. When the phone rings and something else happens. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. So, but here's a very important, question, because as comedians, with social media being such a big thing, and, wanting followers and things like that, do you put in these cell phones that you find like a selfie, or do you go to their internet on there and pull up your page so that when they get it, they're like, oh, look at that?
I should have.
When you go to hotels, you know how they have those little areas that, where the little business office thingies, so you can go do work on their computers. Do you ever pull up our podcast on those and then just leave them? I'm just saying.
Idea, Michelle.
I'm just
what
saying.
Other shows did you do, Michelle? Let's move on for you. Really nice.
Okay.
So you were with Rhonda, and then we have a guest, right? That's coming up soon.
Yes, our next episode is going to have a guest.
And who was that? And where were you guys doing a show at?
Okay, so and this is Nicole Miller, right? This is us in the car on the way there, and we were at the VFW. Yep, and it was a legit show because I'm in the paper. Wait, I'm in the paper right there. Boop. Okay, this is the front page next to.
I was going to say, isn't that the president of the United States?
Yes, here we go.
Hey, by the time this airs, we'll have a different president on the way.
Will we?
That's crazy.
I don't know.
To think.
But then you still have the so many days before they're.
I know, but I'm just saying, by the time this episode airs,
that's true. We will.
There'll be a different president. That's crazy. Okay, but it's what if it's one of you guys? What if it's one of you two that's the next president? That'd be awesome. So you and Nicole Miller, you made the newspaper. They did an article. What they say about you?
I like the fact that it does say presidential apology, and then it's comedy series.
That is great. Those two headlines go well together.
Yeah, it does. It goes really well. The picture on here doesn't look great, but on their online link, it's a much better picture of me. It just tells of who's on the show and who was the returning comics, and the fact that it's a monthly show that they do.
Oh, nice.
This is in Krebs, Oklahoma, or the McAllister area.
No,
and I found out it's Oklahoma. And I found out that Krebs is Little Italy. And so, we'll probably talk a little bit more about that with Nicole and stuff. But I'm just going to give you my 2 cents worth. As an Italian, I really, really, really wanted to. I live in Oklahoma now. Where am I going to find a good cannoli? I'm sorry. It's not happening in this state. And so I thought, at some point in my life, I'm going to go down for the little Italian festival or whatever, in Krebs. I didn't know. Here we are. I didn't realize that's where we were going. So we ended up stopping off at a restaurant. I'm like, do you guys have cannolis? They're like, yes. I'm like, okay. So I bought a little children's size chicken Alfredo dinner and then cannoli. Because
what is a cannoli? Is that like the hard shell with the cream in the middle or something?
Yes. Ew. Yeah. It's a pastry and it's so good.
I don't like them. I don't. I thought I would, but I don't.
I'm thinking you would probably like this one because it wasn't a real one, so you would have loved it because they ruined it. Like they didn't have the actual good cheese in there, and it was.
Wait, they had cheese in them? I thought they were like cookie type things.
No, it's a cheese. It's a cheese. It's a special type of sweet cheese that's in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's delicious. and then they also put like cinnamon on it or something. It was
Yes.
like, what is this? What
This
is
has
this?
become a cooking show. We're at like 1 hour and we're like cheese and Buc-ee's and 3-beet sandwiches and cinnamon
Not a sponsor.
and
Well,
Rice Krispie treats. And what this was supposed to be about supportive, but we're gonna need like support in our
Anyway,
girdles.
So the VFW, they do a show once a month, and it's to support the veterans pause for vets. So, like they get animals and, that kind of thing. So it's it's a great cause. And a lot of my other comedian friends have done the show and they really enjoy it down there, and all the things that go with it. So that was, and then after the show, because there was music, there was dancing, there was comedians, and then after that show's done, like on the other side of the building, then they open up the karaoke. So so there you go, like you get all of it. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, and Nicole is a blast to drive with, and it was like hour and a half or whatever. So I drove to her house and I went with her. Her house was closer to the venue, so it was like an hour and a half there and back, so 3 hours with Nicole in the car. One, she's a great driver, so
Nice.
that was awesome. Second, we got to talk about all the things, and all the things comedy, and I'm really looking forward to having her on next week because she has been just crushing it, just working hard, and just was it out there grinding, I don't know what it's called, where you just keep working hard, getting out there, getting the leads, doing the comedy stuff, all the things. She's got
all the hip slang, Michelle.
Yeah. I'm totally in it. So Merry Christmas. And then but here's something else that's been happening and kind of exciting.
Yes.
So this is Ross and I. We are at Chuck E. Cheese.
Yes.
We went to Chuck E. Cheese this past week because our grandbaby turned 2.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So we had a blast at Chuck E. Cheese with all the people. And I am really, I got this picture, this next one. I'm going to just pop it up here real quick. So it's the grandmas. All the grandmas are in this picture. And so we have Rihanna's grandmother, we have Patrick's grandmother, and I'm like, oh, we got to get the grandmothers in. And they looked at me, they said, you're a grandmother. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a grandmother too. Because they're the great grandmothers. And then I'm a grandma. I'm like, that's right. So then I had to make it a selfie, So that was really neat to have the whole family. That child got so much stuff because it's a huge family, so many aunts and uncles, and I love watching someone else being just doted on. It was just so much fun. And anyway, so we had a great time. And then that night I went, I left early and then went to Krebs, to Little Italy. So there you go. That's pretty much it. Oh, and then I did the open mic at the local Looney Bin because they were doing a clean open mic. Nice. And I was like, okay, yeah, I want to go. And apparently, so when I started years ago, the open mic was meant for you to work on your stuff, like you got an idea of what you're working on, and and you've tried to word it the best, and then you want to put it in front of an audience to see if it works, right? That's kind of what an open mic is supposed to be. But nowadays I'm getting more and more of the feeling, I'm actually being told this too, that the open mics it's more of a showcase now.
Yeah.
And I was like, then
it depends on where. Like they used to do New Material Monday at Zany's, and you would have like headliners come and play around. They would do different material. They have their notes, those kind of things. Yeah. Now the only ones who are really bringing their notes up there, to my understanding, is like Nate Bargatze and like Dusty Slay and John Chris and those kind of folks who are big headliners. Everybody else is like, they're not trying to do something that's not tested because everybody's doing such good material, and that might be the only time that the club, the booker sees you. So they're trying, but there's still small mics, coffee shops, those kind of things. There's still a ton of those going on in Nashville where people are slinging just random thoughts and putting stuff out there. But you're right. It is like, well, then where do you practice?
Yeah, where do you practice? And so like that was the thing. So I went to, because they touted it as a clean open mic. I'm like, okay, good, because I prefer listening to clean mics versus when they just tell you everything and then some.
Right.
And so I thought this will be good. But then when I got there, I don't know, it was like 13 or 14 comedians have signed up. And I was like, okay, well, I'll just figure out, if I get a spot or not, no big deal. And then it was, well, the owner's going to be there, and we have this booker, that the books rooms, is going to be there. I was like, wait, what? Oh, so now I didn't actually work on the stuff that I wanted to work on. I went ahead and went, let me shift it again. Cause I was like, this is like an audition. It wasn't a open. So then someone else was telling me, well, the open mic, like, you can come on Tuesdays on the Clean Tuesday, but that's at this other club. I'm like, oh, okay. So that's a different spot. But then after this one, then I could have gone to I'm like, I don't want to drive downtown right now. I don't want, like, it was just all of this other stuff that went with it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I just want to go to this club. I like this club. This is my favorite club. It's a great atmosphere. It's easy to get there and back. And it's just a nicer place.
But open mics and open micers, it's not meant to be easy. The people who are hustling and are working new material and new to the scene and all of that stuff, you can't just go, oh, I only want to go here, right? I mean, a lot of those folks, they're trying to get their feet underneath them, and it's stage time. It's every mic you can get to, and it's all of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're the grandmas with the, let's just go back to the beginning with the jiggle necks that you welcomed me to the club. I'm not a grandma yet, but I can't wait to be.
You are in my heart, though.
Yeah, we're more quality, not quantity. It's like I want to get in, get out, work my stuff, and rock and roll. So
but it was actually, but I have to say, it was really, really a great open mic. It seriously was. We had one fella that was in a wheelchair, and he went last, and so this particular, they had to, carry the wheelchair up. They,
it's not. It's for comedians with disabilities. From what I've seen, most places aren't accessible, and you have to have, somebody.
Which was interesting.
They're there
because like years and years ago, I do remember that there was like a very small ramp on like the other side of the stage, but there's been a lot of changes, over the years. So I was like, oh, wonder where that little tiny ramp, that's all it really needs is that little tiny thing that went over the two stairs, because they're small stairs. It's not even a big step, like some of the places I've been to recently. Anyway, that was his first time ever doing an open mic, but he's been taking classes. And so it was his first time. He was so good. He really, really was so good. And it was so enjoyable. It was a great open mic. There was only one that was questionable. And the MC was on his way up to get him off, and then he changed his material. So then he let him stay, because it was like so, but it was just so nice to see the local comedians have clean sets. Like that was great. One guy's like, I just wrote this today or whatever, and
which is completely unnecessary to say when you're on stage. You're wasting your time and everybody else's. Just go do the stuff. Nobody asked when you wrote this.
I'm not
trying to be mean, but nobody asked. But it is the insecurity that people do, where they're insecure and they're not sure if it's going to work or not. So they're going to go ahead and lower the bar by telling you, this isn't whatever, and they try to lower the bar. When it's like, if you're legit just doing an open mic, who cares? No one cares when you wrote this. Just do your jokes. Don't waste your time. You only have so many minutes up there anyway. Don't give us the background. Just do the joke. Right?
Yeah, but it was such a fun time. And yeah, that I think that opening line, it's people say it because they don't actually have an opening line. Transition lines are really hard to do. And having your first opening joke to be able to get laughs right away, that's really, really hard to do.
Yeah.
Like that's the hardest. Like knowing your opening and knowing your ending, those are really the hardest part of your set.
Yeah.
Because then you could just play with the stuff in the middle. And it is because if you don't set it up right, when
we do the writer's room, sometimes it makes sense to share. Like I'll be like, okay, I know that there's no punchlines here. This is a story that I have in my mind. So you guys let me know what you think about it. And then I'll just share the story. So they're not waiting for a punch or whatever. Just understand this is true to what happened to me today. Is there something here? Sometimes that's all you're doing is going, is there something here? And that's okay. But I've been to the mics where people are, they're like, oh, and I don't know. And they're giving a 10-minute speech. And now your time's up. It's like, just do your jokes. It's okay. Like the whole point is that it's not supposed to be perfect, because if it is, why are you doing it here?
Yeah.
You should be doing it on a show. Here's where you should be practicing. So
yeah. Anyway, so I've said enough. I said oh my gosh, girl, I talked too much. Because we need to get to your tip of the week. We gotta get it out there.
I forgot what it even is at this point. Go ahead and pop it up. Tip of the week is
times they are changing.
Times are changing. It's just another friendly reminder, that we're into the fall. So, a lot of places the clock falls back, but the show that I was at, the the Third Coast, dude didn't show up on time because he was coming from a different time zone. He didn't realize this, whatever. It truly, this wasn't somebody making excuses. This was someone who got mixed up on time zones. And so, just know, just when you're doing a podcast, when you're doing a show, wherever you're traveling from, wherever you're traveling to, never assume that they're on the same time as you. Always make sure that you check your time zones whenever you go do a show, and that can work in life in general. So, that's my tip of the week. Times are changing. Be a changer with the times. Pay attention to your time zone. So that's going to be it for this episode of the Live Support Podcast. We're going to wrap it up. It's a little extra long, but we've been catching up. We've been catching up with my little elf friend. Hey, make sure that you follow Michele VanDusen and all of her social media pages. Michele,
there you go.
It is michelevanddusen.org on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. It's Michelle's Comedy. Don't forget, it's Michele with one L. For me, junebugcomedy.com, and on Instagram and all of that, you'll find me at Junebug Comedy. I think YouTube is Junebug Clean Comedy. So
yes, it is.
That's super exciting. And then, of course, you can find Live Support Podcast on Instagram and on Facebook. Make sure you follow us, like us, holler at us. Let us know that you're enjoying the show. And you can email us at thelaughsup@gmail.com. So that's going to do it for this episode of the Live Support Podcast. As I always say, Jesus and Junebug loves you. And little elf Michele, tell him goodbye.
Hey June, why did you end up sitting on that clock?
I don't know, Michele, why?
Because I heard that you wanted to be on time. Thanks for listening. Have a good time. Bye-bye.